Well, here we are today at another beautiful garden. But one of the things that's so exceptional about it is that it's very close to town and on a busy, busy route used by tourists and dog walkers and lots of passersby. I've been by it so many times over my 20 years in Concord and always enjoyed all of the landscape here that is shared with the town. Um, it's, it's also an important architectural site. It is a big mansard roof Civil War house built by Sarah Prescott in 1865 when she was widowed. This is her downsizing house, and it's beautiful and is sited in the landscape so beautifully too. So the family who's here moved here 15 years ago. And what they had in terms of landscape were some gorgeous sugar maples, some big trees, a few forsythia, and a kidney-shaped pool that was full of frogs and ducks. So not quite what they wanted for their big, active family. They now have just grown children, 3 of them, and 2 vigorous, fun-loving golden retrievers. So what they did was set about creating a small haven for themselves within this large landscape. That meant terracing and walls and shrub layer and perennial beds and a beautiful pool and just a lovely spot that I can't wait to show you. So let's go take a look. All right, well, I want to show you this wonderful haven tucked away here under this passageway. Let's start and see even what they have planted under this roof, because that's always a challenge to see what really works well in shade, can work in a tight space like this. So there is this, I want to bring special attention to this bloodroot. I mean, look at that leaf. It's so handsome and different. Beautiful, beautiful bloom, beautiful white bloom early in the spring before much else comes up. And then it holds this shape, right through the summer. And I love the way they've paired it here with hosta and lily of the valley. Just perfect for a space like this. Let's head on through and look at this wonderful garden that surrounds a beautiful pool, well-loved pool by this family that has these exuberant golden retrievers. They go right in. They tell me this is a gorgeous garden, and yet I know it gets a lot of love and fun from the dogs. They tell me they're often like being presented with a plant in the mouth of a dog or finding a hole and then seeing where the plant is. That's just very much alive. So this direction, this faces south. So this is an area where you can really do a lot with flowers and herbs. And actually, let me bring you back around a little bit to here, because this is such a lovely spot for herbs. A lot of our herbs are native to the Mediterranean. They love heat and sun. And here among the rocks, they pick up so much heat from these rocks. And you have here lavender and a rose, and over there some basil. And it just is, it's all things that really adore being in the heat. And this is a very interesting clematis, and I'm not used to seeing them planted in pots, and I love that. There are a pair of them right here. There's another one over there. So I love that pairing too. It's tantalizing because I can see they're just about to bloom, but we'll have to come back and see what that looks like another time. Get another Mediterranean herb, this great big sage plant, parsley back there, mint, roses, which also love to soak up the sun. I love how they've terraced this garden too. It's really nice to have an elevated space for a garden where you can have this different vantage point on plants and really get this almost sort of worm's eye view, look up at them. They'll always look different that way and kind of more important. And it's great against this back of the garage to have it softened by all of these sun-loving flowers. Down here is salvia, rosemary, there are tomatoes coming up, Everything that just loves sun. I know they have this very open, welcoming garden. Friends give them plants. They just tuck them in. It's not a super planned garden. It is, I mean, I definitely see beautiful repetitions, certainly planning up here. But within that, I know this rose was a gift from a friend. And so they tucked it right here, and it'll look so pretty next to this. I think this is a Nantucket daisy next to an echinacea. I mean, all of this is phlox, so imagine that spilling down over this wall earlier in the spring. They have this native, really country foxglove. I love the palette right now that is all these different yellows, stronger and softer like this one, variation of texture. And this is a milkweed, an asclepsis, beautiful orangey color, so nice next to the foxglove. There's a lot of, over here is an Amsonia that gets to be that brilliant yellow in the fall. So really it's this nice themes of yellow along here, but also know they just will insert some friends as they come along and find a place for everything. Some yarrow, and I can see it also picked up down there. It's really nice to see that in a garden that loves this heat, this south-facing spot. Yeah, more yarrow along here, and lovely to have that different shade of foliage. I mean, you've heard it from me before, but I really think gardens, even flower gardens, are kind of all about the foliage, no matter how long blooming a plant is. What you'll see, the constant, is always the foliage. So this is a repetition of that asclepsis, that milkweed, and it comes along here. And this beautiful Roseanne geranium, that'll be blooming. That'll bloom this blue purple. That's so, so pretty with all the yellows here. The yarrow again, so nice repetition. And then this is a cut leaf cone flower. Oh, you can just begin to see the bloom coming out. It's much more midsummer. It's a great native if you want something really strong, big in your garden. I love cut leaf coneflower, and I see a lot of it in this garden where there is ample space for things like that. This is a rose of Sharon, great big rose of Sharon up here. And you know, there's just so much to show you. I don't want to name every plant. We've got to keep moving through this garden, but geraniums and Shasta daisies, just a very pretty look together. The owner told me she doesn't love mulch. I know what she means. So she plants as closely as she can, and she uses a lot of ground cover. This is barren strawberry, which is a super ground cover. Ooh, aren't these pretty together? This geranium next to this salvia that is just this stunning blue purple. So pretty. And gosh, this is all that barren strawberry. I love seeing that underfoot. And a monarda back there, and Amsonia right here. That's just going to be this highlight, this bright yellow highlight at the end of the pool when they look out this way in the fall. And there's a lot of it. That's a great idea to put in the distance to really attract your eye. Repetition of more Shasta daisy, the lovely pairing of textures here. Amsonia, this broadleaf of Shasta daisy, this really interesting, beautiful leaf of geranium. And right in the middle of it all is this Stewardia. I mean, we just know what a beautiful specimen tree Stewardia are, with their interesting bark, and it's getting ready to bloom. But I love even this ball-shaped form well before it blooms. I mean, they have this gorgeous branching habit, and it also has a sister right across the way. We'll see as we come along. So they frame, and this is in some ways a very casual, welcoming garden, but it has bones that are formal and structured that keep it from being unruly looking. You know, great symmetry there along the pool. The walls give it structure, so it can look quite ordered even when it is so open. Up here to their hydrangea in the back. Again, that'll bring in that nice white flower, which is so nice in the back of areas. They have a great shrub layer too. I mean, we can begin to see this is a great big, and there are a lot of them in the back here, double file viburnum. I think this is Mauritii. And viburnum they have this handsome, almost like corrugated or corduroy-like leaf, sawtooth leaf. And then this sort of lace cap bloom structure. It's just gone by. There's the bloom. It's just, and this very graceful arching. I just love the way a viburnum will kind of do that. And especially this kind, especially these great big double file. Gosh, so much to point out. Beautiful rhododendron. These are like classic New England woodland plants, a bunch of them native or related to natives, rhododendrons, mountain laurels. That's what we're seeing back here. I mean, I think this is a native geranium. There is a native type. We're coming past just a giant yew, so nice and big. And gosh, I was gonna say this is dog hobble, the Kothaway, but I actually think it's a type, it's a rhododendron. Christmas fern, so an evergreen fern. Like the full range of things that you can do with part shade-loving plants. Great examples along here. So we're coming back into an area that they call the forest, I think, where they have a lot of great trees to look at. It's also an area, I mean, they love living things so much that when they fill their pots in the winter with these little trees that many people do, these little evergreens, they don't get rid of them at the end of the year. They put them back here. So it makes this little sort of wood for gnomes and fairies with these small trees. We'll look for them. They're a bit ways back. So we're passing though here. Oh, this is a nice amelanchier. I mean, that vase-shaped habit is so beautiful. And this is a cherry. I mean, you can tell the cherry from its leaf, but I always am really looking for the bark of a cherry to identify it. You see it's reddish in color. That always makes me think of cherry, but it's quite distinctive. And then I think, oh yes, cherry, that glossy, reddish brown, always a cherry. We've got another crabapple right here. And this is a wonderful tree. This is a dawn redwood. So I was like, what is it? What is this when I first saw it? Because it has this sort of somewhat larch-like evergreen foliage, but gosh, the bark is so different. The branching is so different. And it turns out this is a tree that his mother had in the New York area, and it was at a size, she put it in her car and she drove it up here to them. And it's just very special. Those family connections are special, and very unusual tree. I always get excited when I see something that I've never seen before. And this is one of those things. So we'll head back again through this little wood where we see more crab apples. We see some great arborvitae right here. Gosh, a soaring maple up there. It's always fun to explore kind of the hidden areas of a garden together. And I love walking right through trees like this and seeing what's happening this spring. This new growth on the arborvitae is always so pretty. Gorgeous. This is a sugar maple. So I think here are some of the little trees. There'll be more as we come through this way. Here you can see there's a magnificent, there are a few really magnificent hemlocks on this property. And there's one reaching way up, really healthy. I mean, hemlocks do have some problems with disease. They've been lucky to escape that and have these wonderful, wonderful specimens. Here is another one of those viburnum. There are quite a lot in this yard. Oh, there are some of the little trees from winters of yore. And we'll come back through this way, past the cherry, and past again this little this little grove. There are some friends from winters past. Oh, here we are at closer range on the hemlock. And see all those soccer goals in there. So their son did play soccer, but he's out of college now, not using those. Those are there so that the dogs are everywhere, so the dogs don't roll around on the mulch and bring all the dirt into the house. That's just a trick, a little barrier for them. Fun to see the workings of the garden. Fun to see, wonderful to see that trunk of that hemlock. Gosh, these are special trees. I mean, I don't really know other hemlocks around here that have gotten to the size of this one. So I love to see that. Really, really beautiful. All right, let's come back around and have a look at the other side of the pool and just this loveliness. I mean, water in a garden is so, so special. And of course, you have it in the pool, but you also have it in this wonderful fountain. I love the guy that they found and how they've set this up, this multi-level fountain, which also works as a bird bath. They say for them, it attracts the birds. And of course, you know, we're on this busy thoroughfare. So it's really, really special and important back in an area like this to have some sound to, you know, mask that a little bit. And it's so cooling in the summer. So he's really great. And he's all lit up at night too. So again, from the house that's on the other side of this pool, you look out here and you see him in the night. You see these hydrangea on either side of us with their white blooms, the stewardia with their white blooms. You know, later on in the year, the Amsonia with its yellow. There's a lot to draw your eye right out here to the back, to the other side of the pool, which is a wonderful landscape idea, something to think about. I mean, this is a great bank of Rudbeckia. I can see Black-eyed Susan's coming up. And again, they wrap right around. And then, you know, some classic New England garden flowers, phlox there, and the daylilies. And that's, again, one of those cut leaf cone flowers. And behind this stewardia that will have that beautiful white bloom is much more hydrangea. Some great shade lovers back there, the hellebore. We'll see some great examples of that as we go along. Overhead, we've got this handsome wisteria. You know, I imagine it's so established. It looks like it's been here a long time, but I know that they developed this landscape, I don't know, about 15 years ago. So I think it's about that old. And it's great how it can soften architecture, how it can create this area where you can sit under it in dappled shade. And of course, imagine when it has those purple blooms dripping down. That's very evocative and romantic right here next to the pool. Oh, this is something beautiful to show you, and also kind of unusual and wonderful to see it in bloom. And this Japanese snowbell tree. So it took a little while for me to identify it. I thought I was mixing it up with a spring bloomer, Carolina bell, and but that blooms earlier. So that's something, you know, when you're trying to identify plants, there's so much to look at and consider. The bark and the size. Sometimes something will look like something else, and then you look at the size, but also look at not just the bloom, but the bloom time. And that's what solved this puzzle for me. I love how they've paired this white-bearing tree with hostas that also have white on them. And then, gosh, this new growth on the rhododendron is so pretty with it. And then back here, this huge leafed hosta. I love this with this blue-green corrugated leaf, and it's big. I mean, that could be an Empress Wu, which is a very big hosta. I have one and I just love it. I recommend it if you want a big, handsome hosta. Again, this is all that barren strawberry, and isn't that a super ground cover? And I love the way it's paired here. So you've got a hydrangea. It looks like an Annabelle to me, with white blooming anyway. And then these wonderful ever blooming roses. I'm pretty sure that these are knockout roses. They'll bloom all season long. They're disease resistant, easy care as roses go. And look at how many blooms are on them. And we'll even back up this direction. It's just amazing. And I've worked with them in different gardens, over years, and they do perform. They're really something else. Wow, look at all the buds on this one. So pretty. I'm going to guess this. I think this is Liriope right here, and Lady's Mantle I love paired with a rose. And back here, more repetition of what. So there's less variety on this side, more repetition, and I love that. So much to look at there. A little more peace for the eye over here, as again we continue on with this repetition of the hydrangea, and these ever blooming roses, and this great barren strawberry beneath its feet. Really great. Now we're coming up to this handsome tree. So this is a Japanese lilac tree, and I love the way it blooms as late as it does, as all the other lilac are blooming earlier, mid-May. This tree that has that very graceful lilac leaf blooms with these great plumes of white, just at a time when a lot of the spring bloomers are starting to give up. And this is a really amazing specimen. I don't often see them as large as this, but out here I think this gets a lot of sun, and it's just gorgeous. You can look inside at the form. It's been pruned beautifully, and such a handsome punctuation to the corner of this garden at the side of the house, beautifully placed. And then under it, just some nice quiet hosta. I'm going to peer under it because I love to look at structure, and it is just gorgeous under here, the way it arches up, and you look up through its leaves. They, as I think you've learned, they love animals here. They love birds too. So they take down their feeders for the summer. The birds are really fine with just all the insects that are around to eat in the summer. But normally what they do is string a line from this tree right across to the area, to the arch that we came in through, so that then they hang multiple bird feeders all the way along. So then all across, as they look out their kitchen window, they can really see the birds in the winter. And this is a house that they just love animals. And a really nice columbine right here. And just this garden goes around and around the pool, around this private haven. What a lovely, lovely space that, I have walked by this house hundreds of times, and I never dreamed what I might see back here. And I'm so happy to have a look at it today. So now we'll head out into a little more public area, a spot that you might be able to catch a glimpse of from the road, but not the way we're going to see it right now, not up close. So I can't wait to show you. As we head around to the front of the house, you'll see it's a little more formal. And I think that's a great thing to do right around a front door, especially of a historic house like this that has formality and structure to it. You really get the glory of the Japanese lilac tree from here, from this side too, the way it's placed on the corner of the house. But as we get up to the house, look at the symmetry. So on the the plant level, there's these beautiful, big, multiple, this could be like 11 plants on each side, I don't know, of this Amsonia. I think this is called blue ice. It's a wonderful variation. It's not the Hubrichti that we were seeing up in the other garden. But this one will also, these leaves turn vibrant yellow in the fall. But right now, aren't they this lovely, soft, bluish purple? And next to, I know these peonies are going by, but they're still so gorgeous. And the pairing with the Amsonia, I just love it. And it's identically planted on either side of this front door, as are these wonderful evergreens, these hollies. It's a mirror image, and that just gives us all this note of order, of formality. I think just what you want. You can see it has this classic Civil War era front door that is the double door, and so the doors match, and then all the plantings match as they march out. It's special that way. So little detail, cardinals have made their nest in the holly that's right there. So that's been so fun for the family to watch them develop. There is a beautiful Japanese maple over there that split. Snow fell off the roof and it split in the winter, and the husband super glued it back together and is doing just fine. So it's great to try to see what you can do to your plants that way. So as we leave the front of the house and go around to the side, we'll pass this great cedar. I don't see a lot of cedars in Concord, and I just love them with these bluish berries. And look what we can see in here. There's a wonderful nest. So very lively garden. Past Pachysandra, and on our left, this is something they share with the town and visitors. This is a long lilac hedge that is just so gorgeous and wonderful to have along this roadway. Classic New England to have this beautiful, beautiful lilac hedge. A Kusa dogwood, a Japanese maple just beyond this this other door. Just lovely. Every little bit of this land has been considered, and something fabulous has been done with it. So I love a back entrance like this with, an old-fashioned, a real bell for the doorbell, a boot scraper. So those may be original things. And the architecture is so lovely too. I love the detailing around that door, the roof over that door. It's just great from this era, this Civil War era, to look at the details of the house. So we'll circle back and take a look across the front yard, across, the inside of all the shrubs that you'll see as you walk along this route. And it makes a gentle separation from the road, which is just wonderful. I really want to bring attention to this very important, I was going to say handsome, but gosh, this is an important sugar maple. There were two here. One did come to its demise a few years ago, but this one is one for us to just spend some time with and enjoy. It is huge and so handsome. And look at, as you look at it, you can really see its history. You can see where branches have been and fallen off, and you can see its pattern of growth. It really is those scars that make it interesting, that tell its history. And I think that is true for all of us. We all, when we come to a certain age, have these scars. And there are all these things that have happened to us over our lives. And there's a story in there, and there's a lot of beauty in that too, as there is in this tree. It's what makes this tree so fascinating and rich, just as it is with you and me. So yeah, well, and a sugar maple is just such a classic, such a wonderful thing in New England. And this one's close to the road. It's enjoyed by visitors to Concord and Concord residents alike. And continuing forward, I want to show you more of these just lovely plants, lovely shrubs that create a gentle separation from the road, which is so important. But again, it's so generous of the owners, the way they really welcome this look. There's lots of places to see among these shrubs. Ooh, and we're passing, like, I love this. I hadn't seen this Japanese cedar. Like, look at that. Just so touchable. And some familiar friends here, rhododendrons, Korean spice viburnum, smells so great in the spring, a Nantucket daisy, that's going to be just gorgeous late summer, fall. Umbrella pine is such a beautiful form too. Some really nice unusual stuff. And then again, this is another Korean spice viburnum, great smell, great flower in the spring. And a repetition. I know the owner told me she saw these in Bermuda, and some friends who were with them actually gave them these trees. So there's lovely human connection in this garden as well. Friends and animals and a lot of life. We're coming up on a gorgeous copper beech that is sort of this corner punctuation of their property. The bark of a beech is so gorgeous. But really what I like to do is, get close to it and then look up. A beech always has this wonderful, wonderful arch to it. And just the formation of the leaves, the way that you can look up these, ooh, it's so handsome. It's such a strong tree. It's always such a big tree. Beautiful leaf to look through. We're getting this great breeze going across that feels so good to me, and I can see it feels great to the tree too. It's all like the leaves are moving around. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous. Now we'll come back past. This is a shady area. We have the big beech tree. We have a big maple tree right here. So it's always really neat to see what people do in the shade, which is more challenging than full sun. I mean, we'd all as gardeners love to have a lot of full sun to work with. But Solomon seal, so there's some natives, great Solomon seal over there, repeated here, more Solomon seal, hellebore, Christmas fern. A lot of these are natives, which is super. The Christmas fern, the Solomon seal, not the hellebore, but gosh, it has a great, great form. So always great to see it. Over on the other side, hosta and geranium. Maybe it picks up a little bit more light over there for those. This is a big space to fill with plants underneath, and I think they've done a great job with it. Lovely how the maple arches down. And then over here, picking up this repetition of a couple of Coosa dogwoods. I love that in a big space like this, and it is so big. You can really work with trees almost like in a small garden. You'd work with your perennials with repetition of the same form as you go along. It's a really nice unifier. Lovely rhododendron and beautiful azalea, and more hydrangea and pachysandra and daylilies, and a lot to see in this expansive yard. And a lot for, of course, the town to enjoy too. I mean, you can kind of peer up at this broad lawn. We're passing by over here some fruit trees. These are all pretty new fruit trees that are in the area where they lost the sugar maple. So they are young, but they're definitely beginning to produce. This is an apple, and it's doing very well. That's great to see. I think over there I see a peach, and this one. Pear. Oh, they have some of everything. This is a pear tree here, and this is a peach tree here. And exciting, they're young, but they're going to get some fruit off of them. Ooh, you can just feel the softness of the peach right now. And another Coosa dogwood, that repetition is so nice. And Gosh, again, we're in a space that I think you often see more from afar. We're not lingering in it. So I think these broad swaths of the same kind of flower are so effective in a place like this. This geranium sanguineum, this light pink. I mean, when I was here last week, it was covered with these pale pink geranium. They've just gone by. But this foliage is so special, and it'll be here right through the summer. Great, great texture. And then it spills right into more of this Amsonia, this blue ice, I think it is, Amsonia. And you get a nice big swath of it. I just love that. And around the corner, I mean, those are such beautiful pale colors, the blue and the pink. And I love the way it's paired with a birch tree here with the white bark. So you have, I think it just feels right with the pastels of the flowers to have something as pale as that pale bark. And it looks like some nice fescue grasses underneath. And over there, more geraniums. So it's a simpler, calmer statement, which you need when you have this much space and this many gardens, just visually to take it all in. I want to show you over here because this is also a wonderful, garden that moves into the shade and how well that's done. A lady's mantle is a real favorite of mine. I mean, look at that. These gorgeous, gorgeous leaves. And I love the chartreuse flower when it comes. It's beautiful in flower arrangements. But even when it goes by, you have this very handsome form right here. I think this is Liriope. And then beyond it, these are anemone. And I think this is like an honorine Jobert, a really big fall bloomer and a long time fall bloomer, these anemone. And they're big, they arch up like this, and they're very, windflowers, another name for them. I think that's their common name. And they do like billow white or pink in the wind. So to have them with the boxwood behind, and that is this wonderful statement that'll be here in the fall. Big, handsome lady's mantle. Hydrangea, hosta, and then these big statements, this multiple hostas here. Ooh, it's fun to see. I mean, the bloom on hostas is insignificant to me anyway. It's the leaf I get it for, but this is a fascinating big bloom that's coming up. Again, I'm wondering, oh, here's one. I am wondering if this might be Empress Wu, which is this lovely deep corrugation blue-green. And the blue-green, I think over here in the shade garden, they've really looked carefully at variation in color among the greens and texture, to have that blue-green and then sort of a yellowy green beyond and a variegated leaf in that Solomon seal repeated with more variegation over there, and then a more yellow-green hosta. You're not going to get a lot of color from flowers in a shady spot like this, but I think working with textures of greens and color, all the colors of greens is super exciting. And I love to see how effectively it's been done right here. So let's head back. We'll just have one last look at that gorgeous pool and the view of this gracious house as we go by, these lovely expansive gardens. And then just imagine what it would be like to enter your own little haven here, where everything gets more peaceful and the flowers get more colorful on that south-facing wall. And this is where you can be with your family. The rest is shared with, I'd say, not just the town of Concord, but really on that important historic thoroughfare with the world. But then to be able to tuck yourself back into this space, get a drink, play with your dogs, enjoy the pool. I mean, heavenly, I think. And they've just done such a beautiful job to make that happen for their family. I am so glad that they shared it with us today, and I'm glad that you could join me.